All right, so what are our...
Shut up, Rob, and welcome to the Weekly Poll.
Wow. Were you just waiting for somebody to talk?
I totally was waiting. I wasn't going to do it to Sal, because Sal doesn't play along, so I was waiting for you or Tiffany.
I had an inkling. I was like, I'll just sit here quietly until the show begins.
Welcome to the Weekly Poll, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Benny the Comic Historian. I review comic books dramatically back to you over on my channel. Today, our panel of guests is Rob from Comics Explained. He gives you the silky smooth voice where he explains everything in life. Right to the right of him is Tiffany. She is a member of ComicPOP. She does the wonderful cooking show. Although I will say this, Tiffany, about your cooking show.
Yeah?
The individuals that you've hired to try your food, they look clueless.
Right?
Yeah.
I should get new
They
people.
just look like they're just lost and confused. Like they don't know what they're doing. It's funny.
It's weird.
And to the right of them is one of those clueless guys, Sal from ComicPOP. So today, guys, we're going to talk about all this movie news that came out, with the top two topics being Spider-Man Homecoming, and we're also going to talk about that Justice League thing that happened that I'm excited about. But I do want to open up our episode by letting you know about two big things. Right now, there is a Weekly Poll Discord, and on that Discord, you can meet all other wonderful fans of the Weekly Poll and comic books in general. I don't ever like saying fans of the Weekly Poll because I feel like they're not fans. You guys aren't fans of us. You're fans of comic books, and just conveniently we talk about that.
Right.
But the Discord,
No, they're fans of the Weekly Poll.
Huh? Thanks, Rob.
They're fans of
Rob
the
doesn't have a
Weekly
big head at all.
No.
So anyway, yeah, no, there's a Discord. They will link it in the chat. I know they're listening because they stalk me. Mr. Moby stalks me all the time. I log in a game and he's like, hey, there he is. But yeah, they'll give you a link in the chat on that one over there. And if you do enjoy chatting with us, stick around after the show because you'll find me, Rob, and Tiffany playing Overwatch. Sal would join us, but he just spins in a circle.
I'm not good at... Yeah, I would not.
It's sad.
I've given it a try. It is a disaster.
We should have a special episode where we try to teach Sal to do Overwatch.
Yeah.
That would last like 10 minutes, and he'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm done.
I'm done.
You don't
Out.
want this.
So yeah, so I'll catch you guys up. We were talking a little before the show, so I want to kind of get back into what Sal was saying. But let's go ahead and talk about. First off, we will discuss our thoughts on the Homecoming trailer. But there's a big piece of news that did come out that everyone wants us to talk about related to that trailer. So Amy Pascal, the individual who has been flagged as a producer of the Spider-Man movie, has come out and tweeted that she feels that the movies will not be continuing past 2 movies because that's what's at that point Sony's going to pull away from Marvel. And our response to that is salty as fuck. Because honestly, the fact of the matter is this: even if that were true, Sony intended to do only 2 movies.
Yeah.
What moron would tweet out that this is going to be the end of it in 2 movies unless she was trying to start a shitstorm because she got kicked off of a goddamn project because she couldn't make it work?
It really does make no sense to kind of hamstring the buzz. You know what's funny? And it kind of worked because I was hyped after seeing the Spider-Man trailer that dropped today, and reading and watching Pascal talk about it and being like, don't get your hopes up, made me really, like, it just, my heart sank. Because it's like seeing, it's like seeing Spider-Man in your MCU movies, and then someone tells you that it's not going to last. That is exactly what it's like. It's that kind of gut punch. And it's what other purpose could it possibly serve than to undermine all the joy people are feeling about this movie? Because the number one complaint about this trailer is that it gave you too much about the movie.
Yeah. Dude, the trailer's incredible. We will get to that though. I don't want to dive into that. I know Rob's waiting. He's waiting to go into the movie.
No, man, it's just, look. Amy Pascal, man, that chick, you know what? She's probably pissed off because she got canned for all those racist Obama emails. She's probably the one that came up with a stupid idea of Aunt May being a secret agent. Like, just go be pissed off in the corner, Amy Pascal. Just go sit by yourself and be quiet. Yeah. Like I'm hyped as hell about Spider-Man being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, don't rain on my parade. Like don't be an internet troll that's miserable with their life. Like, if Spider-Man's only in 2 movies, that's cool. It'll be a great 2 movies. But let me enjoy this while it lasts. Damn.
Well, no, the fact of the matter is this, Rob, it's a splooge. The good man has now been subscribed for 9 months. The fact of the matter is this. Like, and this is what Sal and I were talking about. Disney and the MCU did not need Spider-Man. I don't think anyone could deny that Spider-Man would have made the MCU better early on if he had joined in.
Sure.
But by the time that they made that deal, they had no need for him in any way, shape, or form. Sal reminded me of a point where they had like 3 other movies on the slate that they bumped for Spider-Man. They didn't need him. They've made so many obscure characters. 10 years ago, do you ever think you would have seen Groot and a Rocket Raccoon on a t-shirt?
Nope.
God, no.
Not a chance.
They can make any superhero huge. And yeah, it's not Spider-Man, but they would not have gone into the Sony deal without an ironclad contingency to just about everything.
Yeah. Disney is notoriously litigious and has the best lawyers. And when I say the best, I mean the worst. Like the most unscrupulous, super villainous lawyers you've ever seen. I know this. A friend of mine was in a litigation with Disney, and it was a nightmare. And the fact is, Disney would never ink a contract that didn't benefit them 95%.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what I mean. Like, there's no way that contract says that Sony can just walk away whenever they want with Spider-Man.
And here's the thing. Okay.
I was going to say, like, I mean, what if she's doing this literally to benefit the movie? Because she comes out, she says this. People are already angry at her. People are already annoyed with her choices, her emails, her everything, right? But she still works for Sony. She still gets money from Sony. She comes out and says this. Everyone's like, I'm definitely going to go see that movie.
You had to show them.
I mean, and maybe it's all... I honestly think she's just salty. That her
I'm sure she's
version of
salty, but,
Spider-Man,
like-
which is what she was trying to do with the whole Amazing Spider-Man and all other crap, the Andrew Garfield shit, didn't work. And in the end, no one wanted to watch it, because if it's not Spider-Man in the MCU, no one gave a fuck. They just wanted him gone.
I mean, like, I want a good Spider-Man movie, and the fact that he's in the MCU is icing on the cake. But you're right. Like, now that I know better, like, when I in a vacuum, when it was just Tobey Maguire, I was completely and blissfully happy with just enjoying Spider-Man all on his own. Now that there is a better world out there, and you're gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't go back now. It's the damage is done.
Right.
You can't backdoor pilot Venom movies and Black Cat movies and then think that you're going to develop this universe and then think, like, after the contract expires, you're going to put Spider-Man in that crappy, like, foundation and think it's going to work. There's no way.
It's not. It's not going to work at all. And there's no way Disney went into this with, like, okay, fine, Sony. You get to make some of the profits. He's fucking ours. Like, like, there's no way. There's no way that Disney went into that with no need to have Spider-Man in the MCU. And that's the point I really want to hammer home. They had no need for him. Sony was fine doing their... And even those shitty movies made money. Disney was like, we got all our superheroes. Every one of our movies is blowing up the box office. Everyone waits for our movies. You can keep him. We don't want him. So there's no way they did that without a ironclad thing to keep him involved while he's there. Because this is already a disaster for the character of Spider-Man. In 15 years, he's had 3 reboots. Like, Disney's not going to dip their hands in that brand, which they do own a portion of for merchandising purposes. They own the Marvel and and like, if you go to Disney World, Spider-Man's everywhere, even though he's not in the MCU.
Right.
You go to Target. And you'll see, it's amazing, actually, because if you go to any department store that has an action figure section...
Blue Drop.
Huh?
Give us
We have a new subscriber, Fat Snorlax.
Fat Snorlax 1.
If you go to any toy department, there's always... You go to the superhero section. They always split it up, where there's the Avengers, and then Spider-Man... And they're just conveniently proportionate in the right way so that Spider-Man technically could hang out with them, but he's over here. It's just, you always lived in this world where Marvel was making their money already. In fact, I think that when Disney acquired Marvel, the deal was, like, they renegotiated the deal with Sony where they were like, keep making the movies, but we take 100% of the merchandising profits. And I think that as a result of the renegotiation to get Spider-Man back in the MCU, they relinquished a little bit of that merchandising.
Right.
I don't know if it's necessarily like that Sony handles the merchandising, but I think it's more like they get a percentage of that.
Right. I mean, I know, because I did a lot of research on the whole situation with Spider-Man. One thing that I never realized until I did this research, Marvel doesn't care if you buy Spider-Man comics. They don't care if they're shitty. They don't care about any of that. They don't care if the movie makes $1 billion because they make off of merchandising alone with Spider-Man's face on it $1 to $2 billion a year.
Yeah.
So that's why Disney has no incentive to pull Spider-Man in because Disney owns that now. When they bought Marvel, they get that. So they have no incentive to pull Spider-Man in there unless he was ironclad being a part of the MCU. There's no way. Yeah. They would. They're not. At no point. There's not going to be like 1 movie, 2 movies, and Sony's like, all right, we're making the 3rd movie. I guarantee you that is not happening.
Yeah.
I know what I'm waiting for.
Okay,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I bet that there'll be a little bit of dick waving where they're going to threaten it, but at the end of the day, we all know who's going to come out on top.
Right. The mouse has too much money. I mean, because here's the if you really want to go.
Oh my God, Benny will just not shut the fuck up.
One last point, and then it's all yours, Rob. All right, one last point. I was going to say, even with the shitty movies, Disney has already been benefiting from Spider-Man because they own those merchandising rights.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. They were already making money even if Sony made shitty movies. I bought a lot of Amazing Spider-Man merch, even though it was a shitty movie.
Yeah, by the way, guys, in real life, like those of you guys who have never met Benny, like Benny does actually talk this much. Like he wakes up and then like the key
Mr.
gets
Waking up at
turned.
7 a.m., calling me up. Hey, let's go for a drive. I want to chat for the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
You're just as bad as me.
That's true.
The only one that's worse than the two of us is Caitlin. And if she's not watching, we're just bashing her now.
That sea talker. So I'm waiting. Like what I'm waiting for is like somebody at Sony to have like goofed. And so like when Spider-Man, like when the thing is over, Sony's like, okay, we're gonna take him back. He's like, actually, not so fast. And they find like a loophole in the contract and just like sue Spider-Man away from Sony, and it's like, and he's ours now. Like, because I got to tell you, I mean, Sony's got money, man, but they don't have Disney lawyers. And I'm sure if Disney really wanted to put the screws to it and really wanted to push it, Disney could find a way to get Spider-Man back.
Sure.
Like, just hold Sony in court to the point that Sony's bankrupt or just has to give it up.
They're already on the verge of bankruptcy. So if Disney just held him in court for 5 years, we would just get Spider-Man back because no one else had him.
Wouldn't that be a return to irony? Like, Sony's on the verge of bankruptcy and they sell the rights back to Marvel?
Right? That's
hilarious.
I gotta tell you, I feel like Disney could threaten to buy Sony at this point because Sony is so in the red and so like they need the Emoji Movie to make their bones back. Like, come on!
Oh yeah, all of their movie. Well, no, Universal's the one that's riding on the Fast and the Furious at this point, isn't it? Aren't they?
Yes.
It's funny, you know. On a side note, before we really get into the trailers, it is funny how many of these big movie production studios are nearly bankrupt and looking for one franchise.
I know.
Yeah. Look at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was banking on Harry Potter, and it's why DC is a little bit hiccupy because like they were just oh crap. I was used to making $1 billion a year, and now we're not.
Yeah.
You know the other thing too about this whole, Pascal coming out and saying that the fact is, once we see Spider-Man in a movie with Iron Man, with any other character, if at the end of the day they're like, we're going to take him back now, Disney would be like, all right, go ahead. Because what are you going to do with him? He's just going to be all by himself, and he can't reference any of the stuff that happened before. He can't reference any of our characters. What are you going to do?
Yeah, they're going to have to reboot him.
Right?
Again.
That sucks.
4 Spider-Man reboots in 20 years.
I mean, there's no way to work around it because I mean that's the only choice they have. Because you got to think about it this way: like the casual moviegoer, the casual person getting into it is not going to know what the difference is. Like you see it all the time: is Batman with Marvel or DC? Like,
I don't know.
They don't know. They don't know the difference. If they don't know whether or not Batman is with Marvel or DC, how are they going to know the difference between the Sony Cinematic Universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I mean, it's not a shot against them. It's just they just don't know. Yeah, and so, like, if you see like Spider-Man alongside like Iron Man, and then he's in like Infinity War, and he has a gauntlet, and he's like, let the conflict in, and then the story's over, and then he's back with Sony. They can't continue on. They just have to be like, and we're rebooting. But see, that's going to be the issue. Is because I think with the direction that they're going to be going in with Spider-Man and the significance, because if it really is just 2 movies, let's say Amy Pascal's right. Let's say that she's right when she says that Sony's not going to let it go beyond 2 movies. Then Marvel's like, well, we got to make the most of this. Like, we got to we got to do the best we can with this, And so because of this, Splooge. And so because of this, what's going to end up happening is people are going to compare Spider-Man in the MCU to Spider-Man in Sony, and they're going to be like, Sony Spider-Man sucks, and they're not going to go see it. They're going to be like, I want the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man, or I don't want anything at all. And so it could just be one of these things where Sony's actually worse off than they were before.
Yeah. Right?
Before they shared it with Marvel.
Well, because what's going to happen, it will be, because the fans, us, we're going to be like, really? Sony's doing it again? Fuck that. So, like, I'm done.
What if Sony is banking on these two movies doing so well that the cost of Spider-Man drives up, and then they try to sell to Marvel? And then at that point, Marvel can make the choice, or Disney can make the choice. Like, they can either walk away and totally screw Sony over, or they'll buy it for an exorbitant rate, because these movies will probably do pretty well with their characters in it as well, you know?
I think so. I think Disney would just buy it because they print money, basically.
Oh, yeah, right? Like, it's all like, you know, Mickey dollars anyway. You can only use that in Disneyland. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, as long as like the Mouse and Company are dancing on the steps of the castle in Magic Kingdom, like there's going to be money just rolling out of Disney's pockets. So, you know, it's never going to be a problem.
So let's move on to the next topic of the day that's more important than any of this. Rob is moving to Colorado, everyone. My plan has worked. I've done it. I've convinced Rob to move out here so that we can collaborate more often. The next plan is to convince the entire Jersey crew to get over here. That might be harder, though. They already have a house.
Me too. And
would you guys to like give up your home and buy a more expensive one?
Yes.
In Colorado.
Don't forget, we live in New Jersey, so would it really be, even if it's tiny? Because
it would be much less expensive.
Oh, really?
We found a thing called Wee Cottages for $200,000. That work for you?
Those Wee Cottages are amazing. They're like these tiny little things. They're like little Lego houses, man. They're hilarious.
I don't think about that.
So, the reason I'm bringing it up is because people are following your Twitter, there's actually some questions about Rob moving out here. So, long story short, guys, Rob in his impulsive nature, I'm not going into values of the homes or any of that crap, because Rob will start looking at me like I'm crazy. But Rob in his impulsive nature, from the trip of flying in here on Tuesday, to Wednesday was planning to buy a home, to Thursday was getting on a list, to Friday changed to a different builder, to Saturday ended up with a different builder, to Monday when he was getting on the flight was calling up mortgage people.
Yeah. That kind of moved pretty fast.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's moving kind of quick. You know, it's you know, but you got to be quick on your feet. You know, you got to go on the first date. You got to say, hey, let's go on the second date. You got to propose on the third. You get married on the fourth. I mean, you got to go fast.
Married on the fourth date? I'm starting to see why you're having relationship issues. No.
Dude, that's like quick, the Solomon Grundy dating plan. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bought a house on a Monday. On Tuesday. Yeah, no, I don't know, but it is gorgeous out there. Like, it's gorgeous and it's really peaceful, which I really like. Plus, there's like stuff to do. Like, Lexington's boring as shit. Oh, funny story. Really quick aside. I was talking to the guy next to me when I was on the plane coming back. I was flying in here to Lexington, and he was like, "So, are you from Lexington?" And I was like, "Yeah, but like Lexington, like it's just a really stagnant city. Like the tour board for Lexington walked by, and they were like, "No, don't say that. Like we're from the tour board." And I was like, "I'm sorry, but I've been here for 20 years." Lexington kind of sucks.
Nice.
Like I ruined their flight. They were kind of sad. They were like, "Oh, okay," and I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you got this basketball team, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else doing around. Either you work at UK or you work at Toyota. Like, it's boring." But yeah, so assuming everything goes to plan, you know, mortgage goes through without a hitch, all that kind of good stuff, then yeah, like I'll be making my way out to Colorado.
We're going to craft some collaborations, and then all we got to do is fly Sal and Tiff out here, and all of the key elements are local.
Done.
We'll get you guys a wee cottage you can fly into on the weekends. Sound good?
All right. Cottage.
I feel like, every time you say that, I'm just like, that's what I would describe our house as. The ComicPOP office is that.
Cottage.
So, guys, since Tevye wants to be a little bitch, and he's sitting there going, "What about topics? Since you don't care, Tevye, and you want to talk about Spider-Man? What did you guys think of that Justice League trailer?"
Dude.
Justice League!
Justice League. Man, let me tell you something, For real, though, like, dude, that Justice League trailer was on point, man. Aquaman riding on the Batmobile like a beast.
Oh, God, that was Okay, so I've heard multiple rumors that the movie wasn't doing great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, and they've been doing a lot of reshoots to try and fix that. And the overall reaction that I've been seeing now is that it is really good. And from that trailer, I have so much hope for this. I really, really do. Like, I didn't want to get hyped up after Batman v Superman because I'm a DC fan. I'm a Marvel fan. I am, but DC is like it was what started me on comics. So I didn't want to get hyped up and get trashed on like Batman v Superman. But it's just I can't wait. I want it now. Take my money.
We gotta wait till November. Fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull it up again. I'm gonna mute it so that you guys, because we're streaming, so we can't do that. So I'm gonna pull it up again, and I'm gonna kind of call out the things that are interesting to discuss as we're going through it.
Okay.
So it opens with wind.
I love wind.
Yeah.
I love wind.
Lots of wind.
Wind.
Yeah, wind can actually blow really hard. Like sometimes it makes these funnels and just rips shit up. Like it's
Right. Or it can be
Wow.
so gentle. Like it's truly, you know.
So
Yeah.
okay, so let's start with the first point in the trailer here. Then it opens up with Bruce Wayne getting on a horse in the middle of nowhere and riding into what is apparently a coastal town. My first question is Aquaman in a town that doesn't go to an airport or have roads?
I guess.
Yeah, is it one of those like little isolated Stephen King towns where like something horrible happens, or Aquaman shows up?
Or Aquaman lives there and gets drunk and punches people.
Yeah,
Right,
whatever.
I mean, that's
They're in
what
Ireland.
it looks like, isn't it? Like he's just going to this thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, we can rag on that for a little while, but that, of course, gets us to the next big scene where we see Silas Stone, I'm assuming that's his father, looking at what apparently is either a mother box or darkside tech, and
That's
the first glimpse of a parademon.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a mother box is what it seems like to me. Like that seems to be the most logical case because that's what we saw in the New 52.
Well, I mean,
So,
the
it
mother
wouldn't-
box is Victor Stone's origin. It's a mother box that he merged
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it makes
I
the
like
most
that-
sense to do that.
That's what Rob. He's like mother box. Let's talk about that. And I'm like, no, parademon. It's a
No,
parademon,
mother box. I
and
wanna
it
talk about a
looks
mother box.
like a parademon. Like it doesn't look like something that has to be. I have to be told is a parademon.
Right.
It's just a
not
parademon.
like that's Doomsday. I swear it's not an ogre from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. No, that's a parademon. Like anyone could be like, "What is that?" I'd be like, "Oh, it's a parademon. This
Yeah.
came from Apocalypse."
Do you want me to explain what that is? Well, good luck, because I don't even know. But, yeah.
Oh, you know what I want? You know what
scary.
I want to see? I want to see the Flash or somebody. They're like, "What is that?" And it's like Bruce Wayne's like, "It's called a mother box." And the Flash picks it up and he's like, "I have such sights to show you." Like,
You
I
want
hope
to
it would-
be a Cenobite?
I wouldn't be a Cenobite, like just oh my God. Like Hellraiser. It would just be funny to see a Hellraiser reference because that's the first thing I think of whenever I see like a mother box. I just think of like Cenobites and Hellraiser. That's the
All right.
first thing
That works. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just do. It's just weird.
So
Fair,
basically,
man.
the Justice League trailer made you go, "I want a new Hellraiser reboot."
No, it's just.
Oh man.
That would be cool, though. Come on, think about that. So, okay,
Yeah.
so the next scene shows Wonder Woman and Batman obviously working together. So that just kind of confirms that as of Batman v Superman, they've stuck together. We haven't seen them break off.
Yeah.
They're going to build up for whatever his nightmare was, which is another interesting thing. Did we get confirmation the villain for this is Steppenwolf, or did they?
I
drop
think
that?
so.
As far as I'm aware, it is.
I
Yeah.
still find that to be a weird decision, but okay.
Hey,
You know
they said
what?
they
You know
were.
all these well-known villains? Let's pull that obscure one that's linked to the well-known one to set up for the sequel.
Yeah, like you could have just made it like Luthor, or maybe like a Superman villain that's kind of fun that you'll never make a movie about, like Brainiac or something. Like,
why didn't they do what they did in the New 52? It is Darkseid, but he's not fully on the planet yet, and they kick him back, and it's like, that was just the beginning. And you're like, oh, fuck!
yeah, that way you get two bites of the same apple. I don't know.
I still wanted to see just go completely away from the Apocalypse plot entirely and have the Thanagarian invasion.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That would
And
be
then-
crazy.
That would
We'll
be
never
pretty
see that.
tight.
Not
No, we won't. But then we could have gotten Hawkgirl, and she could just become part of the Justice League for when Apocalypse does attack.
That would be cool.
I mean, like, okay, like to me, like after reading Justice League versus Suicide Squad, in all honesty, I'd be down for like Maxwell Lord as like the main bad guy.
That'd be
like,
cool.
That would be interesting to me.
I really
Like,
like
I'd be
to
down.
set
for
up
that.
for that a little bit, though. Like, we have to have the big knockdown, drag-out Justice League fight before we can go to the more intellectual Justice League fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we just had that in BVS, and you had the Trinity fight like a giant monster. You could go a little more cerebral with it, but
I feel like that would be a
wanna
great sequel. I just feel like the first one has to be, like, okay, Maxwell Lord, that wouldn't be a reason for the Justice League to come together. You know?
no.
That,
Although he could pit them all against each other. Like, it would be one thing to see all seven of them fighting somebody. I mean, we know Superman's going to be in this. But, like,
No, he's a coffee. Did you not see those fake posters?
Oh yeah,
Dude, those posters were hilarious.
But you could have that, or you could just you could have Maxwell Lord like make them fight each other.
Yeah, that would be cool. Or just have him like take over
but I think
Superman
that
or
just would
something
have
like
turned
that.
into a crappy movie, honestly.
I mean, like it would have been like a low rent Civil War.
No, okay. Here's exactly what you could have done. You could have had Maxwell Lord take over Batman and then do Tower of Babel, where it's just like Batman just starts going after him and like using their weaknesses and so on. So that way you're introducing each member of the and then you get their weaknesses, so you already know what they can't do. It's like just mistreat fish, and then Aquaman will just sit there and cry. I mean, you could do like any number of
Mistreat fish? Really? Aha! I'm poking it.
Yeah.
I feel like that story should come later. Like, I think we need to get to know the characters and have Batman have an opportunity to really get to know them before he would, you know what I mean? Like, he's just recently kind of found out about everybody and their logos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
apparently,
and their logos. But apparently he's been around for 10 years, and none of these other guys have popped up once.
Nope,
Right.
not a single time.
So, like, I would love to see a Tower of Babel movie, but I feel like a little more setup would be...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want one of those. It would make me sad.
What,
Seeing
beat
Batman not
down
work
or
with
what?
his team makes me sad.
So, okay, well, that brings us to the next scene, which is it's just an extended version of the Aquaman joke where he walks in and drops the bottle down. We know where that's going to lead to. I don't think we have much else to talk about other than Jason Momoa is sexy. I would go gay for him.
Dude, he is a beastly looking Aquaman. He looks badass.
Yeah.
as Aquaman. Yeah.
He looks like what the 90s Aquaman wanted to be, but just couldn't.
With the hook.
Yeah.
They're
They're like, I was going for this, and I just couldn't
I
get
got like
there.
halfway and gave up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, man, why don't you just slap an eye patch on his face? Shit, like, give him like a hook for a hand.
So, okay, so that moves into that. Then we get our first scene of Cyborg. So far, I'll be my first thing I'm disliking. I'm not liking the CG armor on him and Flash.
It looks real rough.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's not
once
the
it's
worst.
in
It looks
action,
kinda
maybe it'll be
good.
cool, but the way it looks is just...
Yeah. And you never know, because like people always be like, oh, it was unfinished, oh, whatever. I know they've been in production for this for a very long time, though, so it's difficult to say whether or not the effects are finished, but I don't know. I agree, though. It's not.
I feel like the suits that they made for them, because we get to see Cyborg here first, and I think shortly after that we get... Yeah, there... So if you're watching the trailer I'm at the WB official one. Here, I'm going to link you guys. Well, I can't because we're on here. Go to the WB official. So we can go to the same timestamp so you can see what I'm looking at, you know?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Actually.
At the 50-second marker, that right there, that is like the full body. I don't like this like sleek, like tight CG boxy armor look.
My issue is he's really tiny.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he's a young guy, right? Like, that's fine. I get that, like, you want to make him young, and so, like, you're not going to have him, like... It would be weird if he had a little head on a big body. But, like, Cyborg's never not been big.
And that's what I mean. Like, he looks like a slender guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He looks shorter than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. Like, he looks like he's a guy that should be imposing.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like you see him and it's not necessarily that you look up at him, but he looks big and dangerous.
I
Like,
got it on the screen so they can see me slicing through it. We're not going to play it, so it's not going to be an issue.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's we got Nerd Universe 1 subscribed using Twitch Prime.
Woo!
Dude, man.
So yeah,
I feel like-
I don't like the appearance of this, the glow of it. I'm not a huge fan of the way. I just don't like how they did all of this.
No, it looks like they're taking too much from like the Transformers style of
Yes,
like, robot
yes.
bodies.
Yeah.
That is exactly it, and I don't like that. But I could at least excuse. Well, it's Cyborg. He's machine.
I can excuse it. I can excuse.
No, but what I
their
don't like,
special-
and there's got to be a scene that I can pause on with Flash in his costume. Justice for all. There.
Yep.
I don't like the choice for the Flash. If you go to 126, you get a
Okay.
body shot of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like
theory
the
about-
Injustice costume.
It really does. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that we're going to get, like, a Spider-Man Tony Stark situation here, where, like, at the end, Batman will give Flash, like, a new costume.
Maybe, but
I mean,
Flash
I
is
like the
smart enough.
costume. Like, I like the way the costume. I mean, it looks cool. It looks sleek. I mean, it looks like kind of unnecessary. Like, it looks like it might be there, for for show. But because I mean, as far as I'm aware, like the whole point of the Flash costume is just like manifested from the Speed Force.
Right.
So I mean, I guess
No,
Huh?
it's not.
It's not.
Well, they're kind of doing that now. I guess they've kind of. Flash actually puts it together every time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole plot. That's where the ring comes from and everything. But yeah, you are right. The Speed Force gave Wally his costume, but he didn't give Barry his costume in the Rebirth in New 52 line. Barry still has a costume. Wally gets it from the Speed Force.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I like it kind of.
What they confirm, Flash will have a different costume at the end of the movie. Red Robot 123 says that.
There you go.
And that's fine, but I still have a whole movie with the Flash in this one.
Yeah, you have
Why let's get it right first.
from the whole movie. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I like it. I mean, I always like the kind of like high tech looking suit that the Flash has in Injustice. Like, I always dug that, and I kind of like the way this one looks. It looks kind of cool.
You know, it's in like, all right. So in Injustice, like that character is older, so he may have gone through other costumes to get to that point. This is presumably the Flash's first
Tiff,
costume.
Real quick, did you change out a microphone because you're getting really staticky?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably just the Wi-Fi. Better?
No, still staticky. I wasn't noticing it, but they're commenting on it, so it must be fresh, because otherwise we would have caught it 40 minutes ago.
All right, well, keep talking then, and I'll adjust things.
Okay, all right. Anyway, Sal, you got it. I know.
I was going to ask, what do you think about Cyborg's full face mask?
So that's back over here.
That's on 124.
124?
He has a full face mask?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can see that. Because I've always wondered that, honestly.
Face?
No, I've always wondered that, honestly. It's like his whole body, except for his face and like his heart, are Cyborg. And he has no way to shield the only remaining part of his humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool looking. I was like, well, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that shadow. I mean, the way Cyborg looks is actually pretty stellar. Like, I really dig the way he looks. I mean, we know the glowing and stuff. He looks like a PC, but it's still pretty cool. In terms of like how he looks like a water cooled PC. Yeah, but he's cool in terms of how he looks.
He looks like Deadshot.
Well, okay, but anybody with like anything over an eye looks like Deathstroke. Like Deathstroke kind of looks like Deathstroke.
No, you're right.
So yeah, I mean it's but I think in terms of his character, he does look kind of cool. I think the real question needs to be asked here is, will he do anything useful while he's there?
Dante says that the Flash's costume is made out of spare parts he found, like old rockets, and Batman gives him a new one at the end of the movie.
Is that
I don't know
better?
if that's confirmed or not, but that does make sense.
That would make sense.
All right, is that better?
No, still staticky.
Ah!
Have you been on that headset the whole time?
No, I'm not on the headset. I'm on the mic.
I mean, it's not bothering me too much. I can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't see it. I just figured I'd bring it up because they're asking about it.
That's fair.
Okay, well, then moving on. So Flash costume, we have the same thing we've seen where he grabs it and Flash catches it. But it does answer one question, which I assumed was in the movie, where the Flash looks at it, because in all the other trailers, he was like, that's cool. And I'm like, no, he would have been like, are you Batman?
Yeah.
Like, that's just how that would have gone. So that does answer that question.
Yeah.
Something else too that I thought was kind of interesting, and I want to try to find that scene where so there's a scene where so there's a scene where that quick little glimpse, it's at around 124 actually. This is the part we read a second ago. I don't know if you're still there, but where Cyborg, I don't know if it's like training or if he's just shooting at him or whatever it is. But one thing that I kind of dug about Quicksilver and Fox and Days of Future Past was how fast he moved.
Yeah.
And it almost looked like they cut the scene so that he just wasn't there. I mean, you saw a streak and stuff, but to me, I realized the streak's kind of like a hallmark of the Flash. But I kind of feel like what they did is they kind of combined the best of both worlds. Like, instead of what Marvel did, the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Quicksilver, where you could kind of like see him just run really fast.
Yeah.
Like, with the Flash, you have a red streak, but it's like in the blink of an eye, he's gone. And I like how they do that, like where he's just so quick, where it almost looks like he's in two places at once for a fraction of a second. And that looks cool.
Like that. Yeah. I've always, obviously, number one, Flash is faster than Quicksilver. I've always been like, MCU Quicksilver, I think, is more accurate in terms of his speed versus Days of Future Past Quicksilver. I prefer Days of Future Past or / X-Men Cinematic Universe Quicksilver to the Marvel Quicksilver, but I feel like X-Men's Quicksilver actually more accurately depicts the Flash's speed, where he can actually like go faster than time. I like the depiction. I'm not crazy about the amount of lightning.
I've always liked the lightning thing, though. I mean, being a fan of the Flash.
He's associated with lightning, I get that, but but he generates it all the time. Like he destroy everything.
Well, I feel like as time's gone on, we get more and more lightning out of the Flash. Like it used to be like it'd be like an occasional thing, and now we've gotten to the point where in the TV show we can throw lightning. Like this is like a whole new thing here, man.
It is. It's fair.
Yeah, guy walks into a thunderstorm and just blows up the world. Like I mean, I could. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I noticed because that's something that I kind of I was hoping they were going for because I know that with movies, you can only make a character look like they're going so fast if you're keeping everybody's movement normal.
Yeah.
And so, like the only thing they could do besides that is to literally just CGI him out of a scene. So it's just like he's there, and then just suddenly he's not, and he's on like the other side of the world. But then at that point, you start stretching the limits of credulity, even for a comic book movie. And so I think that what they did here, where they kind of have like a flash of blue or a flash of white and blue, and followed by red, it works because you still get the movement, you get the hallmark of the Flash in terms of his lightning, but he's also moving so incredibly fast that you see that and you're just like, holy cow, like that's fast.
So I do want to comment on one thing. If you go to 105, like probably like 103, and you play through it, I think Batman's grappling onto nothing. To swing in.
I mean, legitimately, they probably haven't put him in yet. Like, they haven't put the thing
Whatever
in.
he's grappling to.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But then we also get the amazing scene where he gets up and he throws explosives, confirming that this while Man of Steel, they were like, no, he's actually a good guy. We're going to make it so he doesn't destroy everything. Oh, that's a much better shot of him right there. If you go of 110, that is Cyborg. Really good shot.
Yeah.
But it's almost like with Man of Steel, they're like, oh, no, this time we're not going to destroy Metropolis. With Batman, they're like, no, fuck it. Batfleck is going to be like killing everyone. Parademons, humans, we don't care. He's
got guns all over the Batmobile now. Like he is primed and ready.
I'm waiting for that. Like Batman just hits the button. It's like, Batman, what are you doing? He's like, what needs to be done, and just like activates the United States nuclear arsenal. Like I mean, I'm just. I mean, but no, I see. Now that I think is a source of contention in Batman fans because I think that what DC's done.
Hold on. I just need to say one thing.
What?
If you go to 120, apparently the pause is exactly at Gal Gadot's butt. Just.
Oh yeah. But what the DC Cinematic Universe has done with Warner Brothers is they've split the Batman fan base, and it's actually kind of funny to see because you have the Batman fans who are like, no, Batman never uses guns and he never kills, whereas you have others who are like, I kind of like what they're doing with him. I like what they're doing with Batman, where they make him a little more ruthless, they make him a little more cruel, where it's kind of like, I mean, I don't really want to use guns. But if the situation calls for it, I wouldn't mind turning them down. I mean, I kind of like that idea of Batman because it makes him more like tangible. Because I kind of feel like when you're talking about like an army that's being sent by some warlord that will do whatever it is that he needs to do in order to conquer the world, even if it means destroying it. With Batman fighting alongside people like Superman and Wonder Woman and stuff like that. I get that like Batman, the fact that he has no powers is what makes him kind of human. But I also like the idea of him just kind of like shooting people. Because it's like, it's Batman.
No, I actually agree. The Justice League being all super, super overly moral, you need one dark and gritty guy. And while I can believe he doesn't, on average, use guns because of his beliefs, I've always liked the idea that Batman does have options to be a little more brutal when he needs to be. Because that's kind of like, Batman's whole idea is to put fear into people. If every villain were to get away and be like, well, he never actually shot me and he didn't really do anything except break a bone and he just growled at me, how quickly do you think no one would be afraid of Batman? We have a situation right now where police are going with guns and people will be like, well, you're not going to shoot unless I give you a reason, so I don't have to be afraid of you. That's exactly what would happen with Batman. So I like the idea that Batman has to be more brutal and grittier because that's the character,
Yeah. Okay, so...
I want to comment something. Apparently, I need to be more of a horn dog or something from what I'm gathering, because there's now people are confirming that butt is not Gal Gadot's. That is her stunt double. There has been research into this.
Oh, good. Asking the real questions.
Okay. So, Dunia. All right, I understand Constantine is a darker character, so is Deadman. If I walk out onto the streets of New York and I hold up two pictures, and one is Batman and one is Constantine, and I say, who are these guys? They're going to know who Batman is. They're not going to know who Constantine is. And so, they'll say he's. they'll be like, I mean, I don't know who that is. Like they'll call him some crazy name or make something up. Like they'll say it's Sting.
That's what he's based on.
Yeah, and so that's the issue. I mean, if you're a comic fan, sure, you would love to see a dark Constantine. But the average moviegoer, the major target audience for these Wonder
still got
movies,
booty. I had to repeat that comment.
So it'd be cool to see, Constantine being dark and gritty, but I would never launch a cinematic universe with Constantine at the helm. Not a chance. It just wouldn't perform.
Think about this, guys. It really comes down to the whole Batman thing. I actually hate the argument of, oh, Batman, they're not human. You can kill parademons. Why is that okay? Like, I get the parademons are an invading army, but there's still a sentient race of beings, regardless of them following the mother box or not. It is an alien race. So you're pretty much calling Batman alienist and telling him he can murder aliens, but he can't murder people.
Right.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have a Batman that is going to mass murder aliens and only use other people's weapons to kill them, but when it comes to fighting crime, suddenly he's not so terrifying because he just breaks a few bones. I've always hated that middle ground they do with Batman. Either he does not kill or he kills. Like, there's no middle ground. You can make it so that he's willing to, when needed, kill, and that's fine, but you can't be like, he doesn't kill unless we need it for the plot.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about middle ground. Like, he's just like chopping off people's limbs. Like, what's the middle ground between like killing and not killing? Like,
well, he can do that. That's fair. That he can do.
Well, it's just some people are like, I don't like the idea of a Batman that kills. And everyone can have their opinions. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about comic books. We have a version of Batman that's a vampire that mass murdered every villain in Gotham. We could all have our cake and eat it too when it comes to the world of comic books. But I'm just saying, like, my opinions on this version of Batman being brutal, I like it. Like, I do.
Right.
I always liked the idea of Batman just being more intelligent, and that's how he fights against the armies of Darkseid. Whether and maybe not use the guns because he doesn't need to, because you know what I mean. Like, he's faster, he's smarter, he's whatever. Like, that's just always been my preference, and I did get that. I got to see that in Justice League. Like in the cartoon. Like I got to see that Batman square off against Darkseid. So, I got that there. So I get it. They're going to try something else. And, it's a difficult sell to a non-comic book reading audience. People who don't necessarily understand what Batman's all about at the core and his fundamentals, to have him stand there next to, a superpowered woman and a man who can run faster than, sound and light, and a guy who is a robot, essentially, and a man who can control the oceans, and then be like, and Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, someone goes, why wouldn't the Joker be dead yet? That's where your comic book logic comes in. He'll mass murder people of Darkseid because they'll kill people, but the Joker's free to kill millions and go to jail. Like, that's where the comic book logic goes in. Like, the Parademon, good or bad, he's still going to go kill people. So is Joker. So, and someone else like, it's because they're demons. It's in their name. Really? We're going to go to that argument now?
I'm doing the Lord's work. Killing demons.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. We got the Flash with the blue lightning. I know there's a billion theories as to blue lightning and what it means. That's
really?
At 157. Yeah, so blue lightning's technically from the Flash of the future. Rob, you did the Joshua Williamson thing, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember the exact interview he did, but yeah, I did the. Yeah, it was either him or somebody else, the writer or the artist. I don't remember who it was, and I think maybe it was from the New 52. But they were saying like the different different forms of light. It was New 52, or I'm sorry, Rebirth, because it was after Godspeed, and it was the different writers or different colors correspond to like either different flashes or how in tune they are with the emotional spectrum. Or I'm sorry, the Speed Force, and I want to say that it was how in tune they are with the Speed Force. I'm not going to swear to that. But that would make sense, because here's the thing you also got to keep in mind. Assuming they're actually going with the mythology of the Flash, Barry Allen wasn't perfectly in tune with the Speed Force when he first became the Flash. I mean, if you go with the Jeff Johns retcon, like he was forming the Speed Force as he ran. So, I mean, it was growing with him. So it would make sense that, like, in this movie, the Speed Force is relatively small. He's not that in tune with it. His lightning reflects that, whereas you see Justice League 2 or even the Flash movie, and then suddenly his lightning is, like, red because he's more in tune with it than he was before. So.
Now, my only argument with that is, we've, as far as I know, and I've read a lot of Flash, we've never had written into continuity reason. All the writers have different reasons behind the colors of lightning, and I wanted to go, this blue could mean his level of intunedness. It could mean, I know at one point someone said blue was time travel. This could be the time traveling one who went back in time to Batman v Superman and got confused. So it could be that. or it could just be they thought blue would look cool.
I think
Because you gotta think he's in a red suit, and when you're CG generating lightning and a CG generating red suit, they maybe in a lot of the stills they just look like a big red blur.
Okay, so it was Brett Booth, who was the former Flash artist and the current writer for the artist of the
Splooge.
Splooge. It was Brett Booth, who is 7 months ago was a current artist for the Titans. The closer you go to light speed, the colors shift.
7 months ago.
Yeah. So red is the slowest, blue and indigo are the fastest. So it's relative to how fast you're going, or I guess how in tune you are with the Speed Force. I don't know how they're going to work that out, but yeah, it's just a reflection of how fast he can go. So.
Right.
Which it looks like they're going with blue shift theory. So I
know, and it's something that the writers keep saying, but then no one writes it into the actual comics, which means it's not actually canon and continuity until it's written in there. You know, I could be like, oh, I wrote a single story about Spider-Man. By the way, Spider-Man doesn't have a penis. I don't know why everyone thinks he has sex with Mary Jane. You know, and that doesn't make that canon. You know. Until they have a comic, like until DC Rebirth, like there's a story in the Flash where Barry Allen, like where Wally West is like, why are you red? And Barry Allen's like, well, it has to do with blue shift. Like until that happens, then there's no definitive answer. So okay, so we can move on to the next one. I do like the scene towards the end where we have the Aquaman thing. I just like their portrayal of Aquaman, where he's just a badass dick.
He's like a bro dude. It's kind of amazing. I like it. The worst thing they could do is just release a poster of him where he looks like that with all his tribal tattoos, because like you just look like you're trying too hard. But in the context of his portrayal, it seems like it's fun. I mean, like, listen, everyone else agrees. Like, most people seem to really dig this portrayal of Aquaman, even though they've only seen him like say one thing. I
think we're all excited for it because up until now, even when they tried to fix him, he still had this bright orange top, these bright green pants. He still looked like the comically, oh god, he talked to fish. And this version is like, I'm decked the hell out. You really want to go toe to toe with me? You really want to ask me if I talk to fish?
No, it's true. He looks like a badass, and he also he seems to not be, forgive the pun, but a fish out of water. Like he seems to know how man's world works. So he's like. So that in context with everything, like I think it's cool. I'm up for this Aquaman.
Yeah, I mean he has kind of like this Conan the Barbarian meets like, you know, a Roman Empire era barbarian king kind of feel to it, and it's cool because like you could easily see him being the kind of guy who's like, I have no time for your foolishness or shenanigans. He seems like he'd be a guy that wouldn't have much to say except for like battle cries, you know, quick little lines. But whenever he speaks up, it's just kind of like everybody listens. Like that's one of the things that I'm really glad, because Jason Momoa, like if you guys ever watch Game of Thrones or anything like that, has a really like commanding presence in terms of how he looks. And so I think like that combined with Aquaman, like it comes in, and so it's like, you know, Aquaman has a really commanding, like I'll kill you with no questions asked kind of look, you know, and that's one of the things that I did, because I feel like that's what they need right now. I mean, Superman's like the guy that's lost his way. He's the angsty kid trying to figure out his place in the world. Batman's like, hey, I'm the wise guy who's seen stuff. You know, Wonder Woman's like, you know, I'll just fight whatever comes in my path. Cyborg's just like, I'm trying to be useful, and the Flash is like, let's run fast, you know. And so it's kind of cool.
Comic relief. That is one thing that I've noticed from all these trailers. They've made Flash full-on comic relief, and the only reason I'm kind of on board with that is, when I think about it, the Justice League doesn't really have any true comic relief. Everyone just gets kind of one-liners here and there. We don't ever have a jokey character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I dig about it, because I kind of feel like for Aquaman fans, this movie's like vindication. Like this will come out and they'll be like, "See, I told you he was badass." Like I think it's really gonna like they're gonna look at that and really, and I wouldn't be surprised if like, you know, they sat down at the meeting table and they were going through casting choices, you know, and they said, look, like if we're gonna do Aquaman, we can't have a character that people are gonna laugh at. We can't have him hanging out in an aquarium moping over the fact that fish are in captivity. Like we need to have a guy who's like legit hardcore badass. If you saw him walking towards you, you cross the street kind of guy. And I feel like with Jason Momoa, I mean, they've captured a really commanding character. And I think that, assuming that the writing's good enough, you know, and I'm sure his acting will be fine, I think, in all honesty, if I'm going to be dangerous, I think he'll probably be like the standout star of the movie, to be honest.
I think so too. But you know, it's like with the Flash, even if the Flash has the funniest lines, they've already kind of given him his spotlight elsewhere. So you know he's not going to be the intended star if that even comes out of it, you know? And Cyborg, he's just a glorified teleporter. Someone said it in there, and that's 100% right.
Yep.
But we already have our Batman. We already have. I think Aquaman's gonna be the one everyone walks out of going, "What the hell?" So let's end the discussion on this trailer with the discussion of the greatest scene ever. 2:16. Aquaman riding on a convertible Batmobile into a battle.
Dude, man.
Yeah.
Like, God. It's badass.
And then he just jumps.
Yeah. See, that would be the kind of scene that people were like, that's why Aquaman, like, that's the kind of scene that gets turned into a meme. That's the kind of scene that people walk out of the theater talking about.
Yeah.
That's the kind of scene that, like, elevates him from the guy that talks to fish to, like, holy shit, Aquaman's badass. Like, that's the, because right now people are talking about it. It's everybody's favorite scene for the trailer right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just riding the Batmobile like a boss, you know, and it looks awesome.
I mean, isn't that in the end of the day what we really want from all of these superhero movies? For the superheroes to look awesome on the screen and not just be like shitty, like classic Captain America 1990s.
Yeah.
You remember that movie, Sal? You remember that movie?
Oh yeah, that movie is rough.
Nothing in that movie looks cool.
No, nothing. Watch it.
But that's exactly what we want. Like, we want badass characters. Like we want strong, confident Superman. We want Wonder Woman who's like, yeah, I could kill Superman. Like, duh. Like, I mean, like, we want Batman who's just like, I don't trust any of you. You know? Like, I mean, those are the kind of characters we want. Like, we want the awesome comic book characters as we think of them in movie form. So
We're getting a different kind of Batman. There's a Batman who's like a team player and he's like making friends and people are going to him for like advice. Like, it's interesting. This is Batman for me is the Tony Stark of the DC cinematic universe.
They're making him into that. I've noticed that, and I'm not.
Yeah.
There's literally so many different portrayals of Batman that you can have your favorite and just accept the new one. I'm kind of just accepting like he's the best, I think, movie portrayal, but I still would rather have my brooding Cordial as Batman. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm cool with having a portrayal on the screen that I'm happy. You know?
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get it all. Works for me.
All right.
It's
So
really interesting that right now they're aging Batman.
Tiffany, you're really quiet now. I wonder if it's the mic you have, if it's just like shot.
It shouldn't be. It's new.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Is that better? I'm holding it now. No, I'm just. I thought it was really interesting.
Really bad though. You sure the wire didn't get frayed or something?
I don't. It's unless South stole my wire because he had a wire and his was crappy, and then.
Huh.
So anyway, what I was gonna say was that they're aging Batman, which is bizarre because everybody seems to want everybody so young. Meanwhile, Marvel is taking Spider-Man and making him so young. You know what I mean? Like, we started with a kind of older Superman or Spider-Man, and now he's come to this point. And we started with a, you know, like, I guess you want to call Batman from, you know, Christopher Nolan to be kind of, you know, younger because he's first starting out, to this super old, sort of experienced Batman. And it's just like, that for me is just such a 180 for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with the idea of him being like kind of the Tony Stark, but I'm not really with Benny on this one. Like, with what we've seen in terms of his character so far, like, presumably Jason Todd already happened. You know,
Right.
beat to death, that kind of thing. I'd rather we had like the old, grizzled, cynical, I don't trust anybody Batman. Like, the only reason why I'm working with you is because I have to. But it's like, let's team up, let's fight. Now I'm gone. Like, you know, the guy who like
Batman v Superman and the movie tanked.
Well, no, we had that because they tried to do the Avengers with two people. Like, that's why that movie tanked. It was terribly written. But I loved Ben Affleck in that Batman movie. Like, I loved him there. And that's one of the things that I'm kind of hoping they don't do, is they look at that as a movie as a whole and say, well, the movie didn't do too well, so nothing in the movie was good. So let's just change everything.
Just change the whole character.
Yeah, like there were great aspects of the movie, and I love the idea of Bruce being dark and cynical and gritty and that kind of thing. You know, I mean, it's fine. I mean, Ben Affleck's a great Batman, and I'll watch it regardless, and I'm sure I'll love it. But, you know, I just kind of like the broodier guy.
I mean, for all we know, though, keep in mind, this is a 2-minute trailer on what's going to be at least a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
This could be every one of Batman's jokes, you know? Or it could be, or 45 minutes of brooding Batman who doesn't want to work with anyone until a parademon shows up. I mean, if you remember the end of Batman v Superman, the only reason he was even considering working with other people is because of the nightmare and seeing that the parademons were coming. So that may translate into this as to why he's, okay, we got to make a team. Like,
yeah.
So we may have just seen every joke he's got.
Yeah. I mean, he has to be sociable in some aspect because without Superman, they're like, we're going to look to Batman to be the guy who connects everything. I mean, also, like, he's the only thing that works objectively with the DC Cinematic Universe. So they're like That's why he's in Suicide Squad. He's why he's in everything. Like, he's the guy. He has to be... You can't have him be, like, I don't trust anybody, but I'm also in every movie, and I have to connect, like, interact with all these people.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense. I mean, but that's one of the reasons why I think they kind of removed Superman from the equation. They could have handled it better. But when you have Superman and Batman who are both there, and then it's like, let's unite the Justice League, and Batman's the one doing it, people are going to be like, but Superman's the leader of the Justice League.
Exactly.
Like, so...
Well, and for the record, Batman versus Superman as the leader of the Justice League, that's interchangeable. Depends on what story you're reading.
Yeah. No, that would have been cool if they'd have done Batman versus Superman, and they're just fighting over who gets to lead the Justice League. That would have been cool. I would have
So now that we're over our normal end time, Tavia, we're just not going to talk about Spider-Man. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you all later.
Let's go play Overwatch, baby.
Yeah, we're going to play Overwatch. Screw that other trailer. Tavia, you can just go do whatever you want to do. All right, so let's go to Spider-Man. We open right off the bat in Spider-Man's trailer with what is apparently a bug device.
Yeah, they want you to look at that, and then they cut to the actual trailer. They're like, look at this! Anyway,
and they basically make it so his spider symbol is apparently a little drone. And when I first saw that, I was like, don't think I like that.
Yeah, this trailer was definitely put together by Sony. Like, I can almost guarantee it.
You mean because Marvel doesn't give away everything about their movie in a trailer, usually?
Be quiet, you.
Right, so, okay, let's just come out the gate. I'm super excited about the movie. Way too much is revealed on this trailer. Like, we literally just saw the entire plot.
Yeah.
So based on this trailer, we already know Spider-Man is going to pick up where he left off in the MCU. He's going to show back up with Tony Stark helping him out. Tony Stark telling him not to do very much. Spider-Man taking the new suit and going, I can do it. Messing up royally. Tony Stark's then going to take the suit back because he had to save the day. And he's going to be like, you can't until you prove to me you can be a true hero, blah, blah, blah. And Spider-Man's then going to put on the hoodie suit that we've all seen. And he's going to go save the day again, which is then going to resolve the Iron Man showing up, giving him the suit, and he's going to go beat the Vulture. Like, that, we got it. Like, that's the plot.
Yeah, the Vulture will also be expanded too, because it was that line like you understand, like, I'll do anything to protect my family. You understand where I'm coming from. So then Peter's going to be torn between whether or not Vulture is right, because he's going to harken back to Uncle Ben. If I had to kill that guy to save Uncle Ben, would I have done it? Probably. And so that's going to create some moral quandaries.
That's a good pause.
But it's still, man. Even if they gave too much away, I don't give a damn. I'm still going to go see.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still excited. I mean, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. I really wish, this is the one thing that I really wish that they hadn't done. I feel like if they're going to start grabbing sidekicks from Miles Morales, just give us Miles Morales.
Yeah, okay, that's the next thing I wanted to bring up. Like, I thought it was Genki. It's definitely Genki now.
It's Genki with the wrong name. They're naming him Ned Leeds, which is a coworker Peter Parker had, kind of a rival from the Daily Bugle, who was thought to be the Hobgoblin and then retconned into not being the Hobgoblin. Like, what? And I guess that's why they went, who cares? Like, we wanted to make him a name that was in Spider-Man's past, but that no one will bitch if it's not. They're never going to tell the Ned Leeds origin of the Hobgoblin story. We're not going to see Roderick Kingsley in these movies.
Well, so, it's weird because it's a placement that doesn't really even make sense. Like, I mean, it's almost like they were like, hey, we really want to do like the world of Miles Morales with everything you know about Peter Parker.
Yes.
And maybe it's trying to like get the best of both worlds. But it's because Peter Parker doesn't have like a Genki. Like there's just love interest.
Yeah,
there's
Mary
just
Jane.
like
this whole
Mary
thing
Jane,
is based on the Ultimate Universe. Mary Jane was like his buddy for like a good chunk.
I mean, there's a million things that even if they wanted to do, and Sal could correct me on this, but Sal will correct me on this. Even if they went with like the main Marvel universe, there's Betty Brant, like there's Gwen Stacy, which has kind of been done to death. There's Mary Jane Watson. I mean, there's a lot of options. They could just invent a new character and then suddenly he appears in the comics. We saw it with Phil Coulson and Nick Fury Jr., so it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just, to me, it just kind of feels unnecessary. Like, I'd rather they just kind of left Genki out of there. You have Peter Parker that shows up. You know, if the whole Sony deal, whatever it is, happens, Peter Parker goes away, Miles Morales gets thrown in, and then we get Genki. Because I kind of feel like if you're going to do the Miles Morales concept, like, shit or get off the pot. You know, just do Miles Morales or don't do Miles Morales. Don't kind of go half in.
Well, they're fully doing Miles. Because this is kind of the idea of what happened with Miles in the beginning, where he showed up, and then other superheroes had to train him. And that's kind of what they're doing with Peter Parker here by having Tony Stark and everyone train him. Like, he is going to be trained by the other superheroes in this universe, and that's what happened to Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
The Ultimate Spider-Man as well. Ultimate Peter Parker was constantly, like, under fire from Nick Fury. Like, Nick Fury is Tony Stark in this trailer. Ultimate Nick Fury would show up and be like, you're doing it wrong. Here's what you gotta do. Like, bail him out. Like, the only thing that Genki or Ned Leeds does in this movie, he is a character for Peter Parker to talk to and think out loud.
And, like, you know, maybe that's why they did Ned Leeds, because they can just leave him out of the next movie if wanted.
Yeah, he got a scholarship and he's doing something else.
Yeah. And he's not an Osborn, so you don't have to worry about goblins.
Yeah, and the closest thing to a best friend that Peter Parker has ever really had is Flash Thompson and Terry Osborn.
Yeah. And they don't want to do Flash Thompson because we're dealing with the whole, we're getting a Venom movie.
That'd be the immediate response. People would be like, we're getting Venom?
They've already cast Flash. He's just, he needs to be the bully first because we're doing the high school thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, that was one of the things. Like, people were like, well, why don't we get Miles? All right, look, guys, Marvel's getting Spider-Man and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why would you not do Peter Parker? Like... It's like if they got Spider, you know, it's like if DC comes out and like, hey, we're making a Superman movie, so let's make Superman from Earth 25, who's a black president. Hey, that'd be cool, but that ain't Superman. So like, you know, you got to go with like the characters everybody knows at the very least to get people's butts in the seats. Now, like Miles Morales is a later on down the road character, which I'd be hyped to see. But to me, I just kind of feel like Spider-Man has so much mythology to draw on his own that Sony either didn't do right or didn't touch on, that it's not like they have to reach into the Miles Morales pot and pull stuff out. Just reach into the Peter Parker pot. There's a zillion things that you could do. You could literally just take the whole Horizon Lab story from, like, Dan Slott's run and just throw that into the center. Because that would be kind of cool. You know, if, like, they're hanging out or whatever it is, and, like, you know, Tony Stark looks down and was like, you've been invited to Horizon Labs. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do, you know, with those little tidbits here and there. But, again, you know. Kind of weird.
I just realized he's holding the boat together. Isn't that like recreating one of the original scenes of him holding the shit together?
Yeah, holding the trains, I think it was, or whatever.
It was him, trying to stop the train from going off the elevator thing.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me.
Yeah. So we've done that already.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that.
Right?
But no, I mean, there's some. I mean, I'm still excited, you know, for whatever it is that they do. I mean, it'll be awesome no matter what direction it goes in. But,
I'm excited for it. Here's the sad part. We could talk about Justice League for 40 minutes because they left so much out that we don't have any idea what's going to happen. And when it comes to Spider-Man, what are we going to talk about? Because now we know the plot.
We can talk about how awesome of a casting choice Michael Keaton is for the Vulture. He looks amazing in this movie.
And how about Tom Holland? He actually looks like a young... I'm so tired of he's a Spider-Man in high school with a guy who's 30.
Yeah, Vulture just I love this. Vulture just looks like a guy who's just had it up to here with life. He's like, you know what, I've just been shit on so many times. Like, I got fired from my job because I can see him just being a guy who just got canned. And he's like, you know what, I've had enough. Like, I'm tired of, like, start getting richer while the rest of us get poor, or something stupid like that if they want to tie into that whole 99% thing. He just looks like a guy who's just had nothing but a series of problems. He probably lives in a trailer, you know, and it's just like he's just had a crappy life. And he's like, you know what, like, I'm just going to be a villain, and I'm just going to bring the system down, or something like that.
So now I have a question. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tiffany.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I kind of thought he was more like he was a criminal, and then all these superheroes popped up, and now he's like, okay, you're going to do that? Then I'm going to have to step up my game.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea, too, yeah.
Like, he's like, I can imagine Michael Keaton being like, you know what, you don't really have supervillains. you have copycat Iron Man guys, and they all die. That's it. Because you literally don't. Like, you have Yellow Jacket, like, but I think they killed Yellow Jacket, I don't remember.
Wasn't he, like, super shrunk or something like that? Like, so I
thought he gets squished, but either way, but like I would like to see him come back just because Yellow Jacket's a cool looking design. I like that. Like, wouldn't it be fun to see the Masters of Evil get together, and it's like the Sinister Six, but it's like the Sinister Six is made of the surviving villains from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No, you're right. The worst part about the villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is even when we get one like Baron Zemo, he doesn't look like Baron Zemo.
He's just a sad jerk.
But no, see, I was just thinking about that just because of the fact that like Shocker's in this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, how awesome would it be if they were just kind of like slowly building up the Sinister Six? It's not an Osborn-led team or even a Dr. Octopus-led team. It's a Vulture-led team. So it's like Vulture, Shocker. I mean, you could throw Baron Zemo on.
Sony wanted to do that anyway. Sony wanted to make a Sinister Six movie.
Yeah, but Sony was going to fuck it up terribly.
Oh, no, they
were.
I think the fact of the matter is, and this is actually one thing that I dislike about Marvel. I mean, I can give just as equal amount of things that I dislike about DC. I don't feel like Marvel has any memorable supervillains that aren't campy as fuck from the 70s. Like,
you mean in general?
Yeah, like for the superheroes they've chosen, I should say.
Okay. I was like, in general, there's a lot of great...
But I feel like they're saving the big ones for, like, Infinity War, you know? The ones that can cross over everyone. Like, think of a good Captain America villain outside of the Red Skull. You know?
They killed Crossbones.
Yeah, they killed Crossbones. I mean, Iron Man... I honestly whiplashed only because he was in the movie.
They killed him.
Yeah,
I mean
they did Batroc the Leaper, and Captain America beat him really quick.
Yeah,
Really,
they did Batroc the Leaper.
Really, it's just been Loki. Like Loki's been.
Loki is it? Yeah.
And what's interesting is Spider-Man has some of the best, most recognizable rogues in comics.
Yeah.
Outside of Batman, so like in Marvel, like Spidey's it, which is kind of brilliant because it means, hey, like maybe we could, you know, Iron Man has pretty slim pickings. Like, what are we going to bring back the Crimson Dynamo? Like, we just borrow a couple of characters. Like, maybe Osborn could be a Marvel Cinematic villain that everybody's got to deal with, like in Dark Reign. Like, and then we build those up. I mean, like, yeah, at this point,
that's what they did on the CW TV shows. The Reverse Flash became a villain that is now crossing other shows.
I mean, Ra's al Ghul is a villain for many characters now because of DC TV. Like, Norman Osborn a bad guy. Like, I could see Hulk fighting Rhino.
Well, maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way, because think about it this way. Like, almost so far, we've seen, like, powerhouse villains, right? Yeah. Like, you had Obadiah Stane, who put on, like, the Ironmonger armor, all right? You had, like... I mean, Loki is a pretty powerhouse villain. You know, if they had X-Men, it would be Magneto. You know, Spider-Man, you know, like you got Vulture, so on and so forth. So what about this? Like, I think it'd be a great way. It'll probably never happen, but I think it'd be a great way to wrap it back around. What about, like, grounding the villain base? Villains that seem almost completely and totally, like, innocent and easy to destroy, but are an absolute nightmare. Like, imagine if you took Kingpin from Netflix and he took over the Hand. And so now it's like the Avengers versus the Hand. Because that's the coolest thing. I did a Periscope about this, and people were like, so what's the Hand about? And I was like, well, imagine that, like, you're a secretary in an office, and, like, you're just out there typing, and then you hear, like, some guy shout, and then the unmistakable sound of him falling onto the ground. You go into the office, all right, and the guy's dead with a dagger in their heart. There's no way in or out, all right? There's the way you're on the 31st floor, all right? Like, how did that guy die? I was like, that's what the Hand does. Like, they're in there, you're dead, they're gone, and no one knows what happened.
But like, they know you're dead. Like, they are unmistakably murdered, but you have no idea why.
Yeah, exactly. Like the person just said. And that's what would be so cool, because the Avengers is used to, like, that's the villain right there. This big guy we have to fight, or, like, this invading force. Well, then you're fighting, like, these mystical ninjas. And it seems kind of hokey on the surface, but then so did Iron Man when when Marvel was talking about doing an Iron Man movie. But then you have something like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin running the Hand, you rework Shadowland or something like that, and then that'd be a mind-blowing Avengers movie. I think it would be incredible. It probably never happened, but I would love it.
No, I agree.
I want Kingpin to be a villain in the Spider-Man movies, and I want that Kingpin because Spider-Man can punch the Vulture, right? Spider-Man can punch Electro. Spider-Man can punch the Rhino or Sandman or Venom or any character that has a big, imposing bunch of stuff. But when it comes to the Kingpin, it's about, like, you can punch the Kingpin because he's a badass, but if Spider-Man punched Wilson Fisk, he would be the bad guy in the eyes of everyone around him. And so Spider-Man has to learn this lesson about how, like, I have to beat this guy at his own game, or I have to beat this guy using subtlety or my brain. I can't just show up and punch him. He's got it, like, and learn about how, you know, the public / American culture will protect evil people because they're rich. You know, like, that's a movie that, you know, is awesome to explore for a character like Spider-Man, who's a teenager and doesn't really understand that idea, and, you know, doesn't agree with that concept and will rail against it. And the conflict is in him underestimating that, like, complexity. Like, that's why, like, and that's, for me, that's why Marvel has such great villains, because, like, Doctor Doom, right? He's a dude in armor. He's reverse Iron Man on the surface, but underneath the surface, and on a kind of silly, superficial level, like, he's got diplomatic immunity. You can't just throw him in jail because he's a leader of a nation. It'd be like if any, like, you know, I don't know, like the president of France came to America and just started punching people. Like, it's not as complicated as just, it's not as simple as just, oh, well, he broke the law. Like, no, dude's a ruler of that nation. That nation will go to war with you if you mess with him. Like, that's complex. It might be silly and comic booky, but, like, it's not just, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bony monster, came from the sky, and I'll punch you. You know, like,
yeah, those villains make it easier for movies because you only have so much time to explain who they are and you know, really, like, get character development from them. So it's really easy to point to, like, Thanos and be like, that's a bad guy. He's huge. He's purple. He's collecting an all-powerful weapon essentially to take over everything. It's really simple to explain that. Someone like the Kingpin, there's subtlety to it. So, like, while yes, I would love to see him in a movie, you need something like the Netflix series to establish his character first.
Yes, but you can't just say, you can't have him show up and then expect audiences to be like, who is this guy? And go, well, watch 2 seasons of this great show on Netflix, and then you'll get the context for this guy. Like, But
well, and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, you can establish Kingpin within about 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But not to the depth that they did. The reason, like, we're so enamored with D'Onofrio's Kingpin is because of the time he had to grow as a villain. Yes,
that's true.
But then you just feed off the Netflix series. I mean, you literally do, like, I mean, you wouldn't go as far as to say, like, hey, if you want to know more, go check out Netflix. You're going to have a bubble that pops up that says that. But you more or less kind of, like, you basically just, like, in the movie, speak about and tie into things that happen in the Netflix series, which kind of gives people a reason to wrap back around. But if you had, I mean, let's say, for example, they took the hand, there's some great moments you could have for characters. Like, you could really highlight the idea that despite what the Avengers do, they still don't know what really goes on Earth. They don't know how deep things go. And so Captain America's like, what the hell's the hand? Well, then enter Black Widow, where she's just like, dude, we're so fucked. Like, if the hand is... have her, like, panic. I mean, there's so many things you could do to have, like, these really great moments. And then you've got Kingpin. He's just, like, a really strong guy. But if you've got a guy like the Kingpin who's just, like, really strong and capable going against the Avengers, well, then it just elevates him to a whole nother level. So I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of things you could do.
No, now that said, and everyone will jump in and say, sorry, what?
Benny, are you okay, man?
Me and Tiffany just love trying to, like, distract you. So
I will say, it's like, people are very quick to point this out, and the comments / chat will be, I'm sure, lit up like a Christmas tree regarding how that can't happen and how it will never happen and how it's impossible and how talking about it is useless because Marvel and Netflix, while owned by the same studio, the TV and the movies, they can't cross over, blah, 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 blah. Money is green. Shut up. It'll be done. Like, if anything happens, like, if any one thing changes, the whole ball game is different. So, like, let us speculate about it. We're supposed to assume that these are in the same universe. Let us talk about it. But, like, I would love to see an acknowledgement of that, because the Hand is a great, I mean, like, the Hand is a great villain, you know, in as much as it's a great organization. You have this amazing opportunity to, like, does anybody remember that great scene in Frank Miller's Daredevil when Daredevil is beaten on the guy they established in, I think, Jessica Jones, the Nuke?
Yeah.
Nuke and Daredevil are punching each other, and there's this building ablaze, and then the Avengers show up. And it's Cap, Iron Man, Thor, and they're like, hey, like, they're like, hey, man, you stop beating on this poor guy. Like, they're like, we'll take it from here. You know, and Daredevil's like, you don't even get what I'm up to here. Like, it's just, I want that feeling in the Netflix series and in the reverse in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, I want that feeling of like, you know, you watch the Avengers movies and you go, these guys don't even know what's happening on the ground. And you know, then you watch the Netflix series and you go like, man, if only they had Iron Man's phone number.
That's kind of the situation we're in, isn't it? You know, aliens invaded New York. We're cleaning up from that. Hey, does anyone think to call those guys back in for some of this stuff? Like,
right? I mean,
I saw Sal's tweet. He was like, "It's time to stop referring to like Avengers as the incident." Like,
which incident are you referring to? Are you referring to the incident where aliens came out of the sky, or are you referring to the incident where a small Eastern European country was lifted out of the ground and rocketed back at the Earth? Or are you referring to the incident where portals opened up in London and then tried to like explode the entire world? When you saw a bunch of realms all at once in the sky? Is that the incident you're referring to? That the incident if there's been 7 incidents? Are you referring to the time when Iron Man and the Hulk destroyed an entire city? Like, which incident are you talking about?
Would that not be a hilarious opening to the next Marvel Cinematic Universe? Just 2 guys in a diner, and you guys like, man, that incident, and then like you. What incident? Which?
Just kidnapped and then put into the Iron Patriot armor, and then like a dude who breathed fire blew up an entire factory. Like, which incident are we talking about here? Like, it's time to like. I mean, look, I know that there's complications, but they're like putting Daredevil in Infinity War. That's a complication. Having the characters in a Netflix series refer to stuff in movies is not a complication. That's either lazy or ignorant. Like, it's frustrating.
Well,
and it's time
to weird. It's like they want to have the ABC shows, the Netflix shows, and the movies all be one universe, but they're almost scared to do it. It looks like.
Yeah.
Well, and I know that it's because, like, apparently there's some infighting, there's some resentment with Feige and stuff like that, like, because Feige took the movies away from the studio, and so the studio's fighting back. Like, you're not gonna win with Iron Fist.
that full Italian New York, New Jersey accent comes out. Just
You're not going to prove to everybody that you're doing it better, okay? Like, let's just agree that the Marvel method works and get your shit together. You're all owned by the same company. If Sony, who is making like dumbass declarative statements about like, well, Spider-Man might not be here next couple of years, like if you got them allowing Spider-Man to be in this universe, then like a subsidiary of the movie studio should be able to freaking refer to it. Like, let it go.
I think the big takeaway here is that we found the perfect role for Sal and Benny and even Rob to be in the next Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Netflix or ABC. I'll be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't care.
I'm just saying, like,
dude, I will be in Powerless.
Just cast yourself. You guys are like the diner scene.
Yeah, take that in a heartbeat. Which incident are you talking about, Benny?
You know what we need to do? Now that I got Rob moving out here, we need to get you flown out here to where we film a new series where we're sitting around a diner like in Reservoir Dogs having these debates.
Yeah, we should just shoot a show where we live in those universes and it's just moments from those.
And I could be like coming over and just be like, so Sal, you know, man, I can't believe that incident happened again. And you could be like, what incident? What incident are you talking about?
What is
the incident? The one incident? No, what incident?
His name is Thor, not the guy with the hammer or the big green dude. What is the matter with you? They make toys of these guys.
Rob, I think we have our next production.
We have our next production.
I love that. I freaking love that.
Oh, dude.
You could do a whole diner.
Yeah. You could do so many things with those. It's like, hey, man, like, did you hear about that guy who just, like, killed all the gangs in New York? It was like this one dude. It's like, yeah, man, like, where were the Avengers? It's like, I don't know. Apparently they don't care. Like, they don't care. Like, dude, like, I mean...
All right. That's
what
official.
Are they doing? They don't care.
We're gonna write out, like, 7 or 8 of these, our responses to the movies. And we'll line up, like, right after the movies. Can you believe that there was, like, an Amazonian war that we lost soldiers to in World War I? Why was this not in the history book?
Yeah, right? I heard the God of War himself pretended to be a general in the German army.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do it.
What's the next one? The Thor movie?
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
Man, how come there was a civil war of all these superheroes? Where was the green dude?
Yeah, where was Thor? What the hell? Yeah, because they would win, like, in a second.
Oh, man.
So,
Like, dude,
all right,
that'd be
I think we should
hilarious.
end the podcast itself at that point right there. I mean, sadly, we didn't go as deep into Spider-Man, but we like to speculate here, and they didn't leave us anything to speculate.
I mean, here's the thing.
Oh.
Is anyone not hyped at this point?
No.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited.
That's it, Tevye. He came up with a great idea. We're gonna do a Kickstarter for our series of us
Yeah.
poking holes at reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta say, by the way, just really quick about Spider-Man, because, like, I can't not talk about it. They got Vulture, they made Vulture so cool. I can't wait for them to take a Spider-Man villain that I actually want to see. Like, because I never liked Vulture, but I'm so excited to see this Vulture, which means, like, the sky's the limit. We could see Kraven the Hunter, and it could be like Channing Tatum or something. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm so totally in. Actually, now I want Jason Momoa to play Kraven the Hunter.
That would be an amazing casting. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna end with this comment. Nimrod Canada says Amy Pascal's not hyped.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
could-
she's just sitting around being pissed.
she should lead the expedition to Mars.
Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
Damn. You just went there, man. Just leave the planet, woman.
Leave this planet.
So, all right, guys, that is the wrap-up of the Weekly Poll today. Hang around after we kind of do the official closeout. If you want to just chat with me, Rob, and Tiffany while we play some Overwatch, probably go about 30 minutes to an hour. Not going to go crazy. I'm expecting at least an hour because we all want to try out the new character, and matches are 15 minutes long, so it kind of assumes we'll go at least that many. But hang around. If you don't want to hang around, that's perfectly fine. We appreciate you being here and joining us today to talk about all these fun things in these movies. But if you want to chat with me more, you can find me on Twitter at ComicsStorian. Rob's over at Comics Explained. Tiffany is at The Real Zubber. Go by the... Why don't you just say yours?
Zoobs.
I'm at the real Zoobs.
Hey, Sal is at Sal Says What?
Check us out.
Word.
Do you have the ComicPOP Twitter?
I have, like, Comic Sal or something like that.
Somebody has a ComicPOP Twitter.
Yeah, it's like some Korean company.
Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. It was
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
real mess.
Autolock Genji. All right. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for joining us. We will be here on Thursday reviewing the comic books that came out this week. I don't know who's going to be on that particular episode. As you can see, we're trying to rotate people through, so we'll see who's here on Thursday. But I will say on my behalf, I've literally canceled tons of appearances so I can start to get my rotation better, and I'm not the guy that shows up once a month.
Yay!
Woo!
So yeah, oh yeah, and the Discord. If you want to chat with us on any other days, we like I hang out in there when I'm just sitting at the desk watching shows and stuff. I know Rob does. Rob gives you train crash videos. I don't know, something like that.
Right on.
What?
What?
But yeah, no, we all hang out on there. We all chat. So go to the Discord. One of the guys will link it in there. One of the guys, they're not linking it in there, but yeah, it'll be there in a second. So make sure you click that. Go chat with the Discord with us. I'm actually going to be mentioning some of our recap episodes very soon. But thank you guys, and we will be starting Overwatch very shortly.